We all have promises we're standing on, and dreams we're hoping will come to pass. It's easy to believe at first, but what happens when nothing is improving? We've had setbacks, the door didn't open, our health didn't get better. That's a test. Before the promise comes to pass, most of the time, you have to go from I believe to I still believe. I was hoping to get a good medical report, wasn't what I thought, but I still believe I'm going to get well. Been praying for my child a long time. He hasn't gotten back on course, but I still believe he will fulfill his destiny. Still believe means you're not moved by what's not changing. You're not discouraged by how long it's taking, by the setback, the disappointment. You know God is still on the throne. He's ordering your steps. What He promised is on the way. Don't get talked out of what you're believing for. When you're tempted to get discouraged, just switch over from I believe to I still believe. The pandemic has slowed my business, but I still believe I'm gonna have a blessed year. Struggled with this addiction a long time. Thoughts tell me it's permanent, but I still believe I'm gonna live free. God is looking for I still believe people. You had every right to give up. The disappointment should have discouraged you. The setback should have talked you out of it. You haven't seen any sign of things changing, but you keep believing, you keep praising, you keep thanking God it's on the way, you keep acting like it's going to happen. All the facts say it's impossible. Your attitude is, that's okay, God can do the impossible. In the natural, there's no way. I'm not worried, God is supernatural. The medical report says you're not going to get well. Just learn to live with it. I'm not worried. God can do what medicine cannot do. He said the number of my days He will fulfill. I still believe. Maybe you tried to accomplish a dream, but no doors opened. You were turned down for the loan. The people you need weren't there for you. Thoughts tell you it's too late. You're too old. It would have happened by now. That's all a part of the process. God didn't give you the dream and not have a way to bring it to pass. He's already taken into account all the setbacks, the delays, the betrayals, the closed doors. He's watching to see if you still believe. Are you going to get talked out of it? Give up on a dream because it hasn't happened yet? Let go of a promise because you haven't seen anything improving? God didn't change His mind. He doesn't abort dreams. What He's promised is still on the way. He just needs some I still believe faith. Faith that says, I've seen the obstacles. The opposition is bigger, but I still believe we can get the Compaq Center. I don't know how we can pay for it. We don't have the finances, but I still believe Jehovah Jireh, the Lord our provider, will supply all of our needs. Don't get talked out of your dreams. Switch over to I still believe. I still believe means the disappointment is not going to cause you to get discouraged. The negative chatter, the people who don't believe in you, is not going to dampen your faith. How long it's taking, who did you wrong, the environment you were raised in is not going to stop your destiny. Pass the test. God knows how long it's been. He's seen the disappointments, how you prayed and done the right thing, but it hasn't improved. Your time is coming. It's not too late. You haven't missed it. Circumstances didn't stop it. What God put in your heart is still on the way. There was a young boy. He grew up in a small village in East Africa. He loved school, loved to learn. As a little boy, his dream was to go to college. That was unheard of. The people there were very poor. On top of that, they were suffering from a huge famine, struggling to survive. His father was killed when he was 7. His mother died when he was 12. He went to live with his grandmother. She became very ill, and he ended up her main caretaker. He would get up at 5 in the morning and study for an hour. Then it was an hour and a half walk to get water for the day. After making his grandmother breakfast, he would go to the village school. All the odds were against him. How could he get a college education? An orphan, living in the slums, no money, no one to look after him? But this young man had I still believe faith. Despite his environment, despite what looked impossible, every night he would pray, God, I want to go to college. I want to make a difference with my life. Even though I don't see how it can work out, I still believe you can make it happen. In that country, the children only went to school through junior high. You had to pay for high school. Only 1% could afford it. At 12 years old, one night he had a dream. He saw a house with a man in it named Mr. Stanley. He was from a foreign country. In this dream, Mr. Stanley helped him with his tuition. He knew exactly where the house was. The next day he went there. Guards were all around it. He told the officers he wanted to see Mr. Stanley. They were surprised that he knew the man's name. Intrigued, Mr. Stanley allowed him in. The young man explained his situation, how he had a dream to continue learning but didn't have the funds. Mr. Stanley was so impressed, he said, I'll not only pay your tuition, but I'll buy all your books and all your supplies. He did so well in high school, the teachers got him an internship working in the parliament. When he finished high school, he received a full scholarship to come to college in the United States. Now he's back home doing great things in his country. When you have I still believe faith, miracles are set in motion. Angels go to work. Favor, healing, divine connections. God will make things happen that seem unlikely, out of the ordinary. Are you letting your circumstances talk you out of what God put in your heart? You believed at one time, but you had obstacles, didn't work out, nobody would help you. Now you've quit believing. God still wants to bring it to pass, but you have to get in agreement with Him and say, God, I still believe it can happen. I still believe I can have this baby. I still believe my family can be restored. I still believe I can live healthy and whole. I still believe I can start my business, write my book, pay my house off. Joel, I tried and it didn't work out. That's part of the process. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Those are tests that you have to pass. God wouldn't have allowed the difficulty, the delay, the disappointment if it was going to stop your purpose. You have to have a made-up mind that you're going to believe until you see that promise come to pass. This is what Abraham did. God gave him the promise that his wife Sarah was going to have a baby, but they were too old. Abraham was in his 80s. Sarah had gone through the change of life. She had been barren, never had children. If God had given her this promise in her 20s or in her 30s, that would make sense. She could believe it. But now she's way past the childbearing years. And sometimes God puts promises in our heart that seem too late. We would believe it if it happened earlier, but now we don't see how. Many times God does things out of normal timing. He has unscheduled blessings. We didn't see it coming. We thought we missed our chance. That season was over. You don't know what God is up to. He's going to do some things out of season when it doesn't typically happen. You weren't next in line, but suddenly you're promoted. The medical report says it's too late. Suddenly your health turns around. You'd given up on the dream. Suddenly the door opens. I can imagine Abraham, when he first heard the promise, he was so excited. Seemed unlikely, but faith rose in his heart. God, I believe you'll give me a son. A few months went by and nothing happened. A couple of years, still nothing. Now thoughts of doubt started to whisper. Are you sure God said you would have a child? Don't you think it would happen by now? How is that even possible in the first place? Look at how old you are. More years passed. Sarah started to get frustrated. She told Abraham to sleep with her maid. She thought, if I can't have a baby, at least this maid will have one, and we'll count that our child. They had a baby, but it wasn't the promised child. You don't have to help God out. Try to manipulate things, force doors to open, convince people to be for you. Let God do it His way. Don't get in a hurry. You have to be mature enough to believe that the promise is coming and not be frustrated while you're waiting. It's through faith and patience that we inherit the promises. God's timing is the best time. Years went by, still no child, no sign of it happening. They're both getting older. Abraham was at a critical point. He had plenty of reasons to get discouraged, give up on the promise. But the scripture says, against all hope, he hoped on in faith. He came to this place where he went from I believe to I still believe. I'm almost 100 years old. We've made mistakes, had disappointments, but I still believe what God promised. I can hear people laughing. Come on, Abraham, you're an old man. You're wasting your time. You can't have a baby. Abraham said, no thanks. I know my God is faithful. Now, I'm not going to let time talk me out of it. Disappointments, people that didn't help me, negative chatter. I still believe my baby is on the way. He had a made-up mind. And despite all the negative circumstances, he chose to have I still believe faith. When Sarah was 90 years old, against all odds, she conceived and gave birth to a son that they named Isaac. The name Isaac means laughter. When you do like Abraham and still believe, you're going to have some blessings that make you laugh. God is going to do things that surprise you. Open doors you never dreamed would open. Turn situations around that look permanent. Where you're in such amazement, such awe that you're filled with joy. All you can do is say, look at the goodness of God. Now maybe what you're believing for is taking longer than you thought. You don't see how it can happen. Thoughts are whispering, you're wasting your time. It's never going to work out. Instead of going from I believe to I gave up, I got discouraged, nothing was happening, I had setbacks, do like Abraham. Go from I believe to I still believe. The odds are against me, but I still believe I can accomplish my dreams. I've had this illness a long time, but I still believe I can get well. I was raised in dysfunction, a rough environment, but I still believe I can live an abundant, victorious life. I still believe I can break limitations of the past. I still believe I can set a new standard. Before you see the promise, the healing, the dream, you're going to have a reason to quit believing. I was going after my dream, but these people walked away. They didn't keep their word. That's a test. Are you going to give up? Or are you going to say, it wasn't fair, they did me wrong, but God is my vindicator. They didn't stop my purpose. What was meant for my harm, God is turning to my advantage. I still believe. Well, Joel, we were trying to have a baby. The experts said there's no way. We took the treatments, nothing more we can do. You're at a critical point. Are you going to settle there, think it's not meant to be? Or are you going to say, God, I know you're the giver of all good gifts. You have the final say. I don't see a way, but I know you have a way. I still believe.